Previously, Mito confided in Meina about her feelings for Ruka. Realizing she had no chance with Ruka, Meina decided to leave them alone. Seizing the moment, Ruka immediately embraced Mito. He threw her into the bed and started sucking her blood with pleasure and satisfaction. After sucking her blood, he wanted to reward her. Mito saw this as an opportunity to spend quality time with him, so she asked him for a date. She showed him a pamphlet of a fireworks festival where she wanted to go. Although Ruka wasn't interested in fireworks, he couldn't say no to his dear Mito. Realizing she had no clothes suitable for a date, Mito sought help from Yuri to borrow something fancy. Yuri searched his wardrobe and found a cute women's yukata for her. After helping Mito put it on, Yuri gently pushed her out of the room, where she unexpectedly bumped into Rin. Rin was surprised to see Mito in a woman's yukata, but his heart raced just looking at her. As Mito explained why she was wearing the yukata, Rin noticed a strong smell of blood, indicating the presence of more vampires nearby. His suspicions were confirmed when Ruka's brothers arrived to meet him. They conveyed the founder's disappointment in Ruka for not finding his destined partner. Despite Ruka's attempts to reassure them that he had found a partner in Mito, the 5 vampires threatened to kill Mito because he was a boy. This threat triggered Ruka to unleash his inherited power from the founder, leading to a fierce fight between them. Meanwhile, Rin took Mito to the fireworks festival. He found Mito outrageously beautiful and decided to confess his feelings to her. However, his words were drowned out by the booming sound of the fireworks. As they enjoyed the festival, they noticed Ruka arriving in a beaten-up condition. Rin hastily ran away from there, while Mito rushed to Ruka's side. Concerned about his condition, Mito tried to ask what happened, but Ruka avoided talking about it. In her flustered state, Mito accidentally fell and bit the inside of her mouth. Seeing her in pain, Ruka quickly lifted her into his arms. This action caused Mito to feel embarrassed as people around them began to gossip about the unexpected display of intimacy. Ruka took her away from the crowd and used his power to heal her injured leg. Grateful, Mito attempted to heal Ruka by licking his wounds. This prompted Ruka to ask why she was doing this if she didn't want to be a couple. Mito confessed that she did want to be a couple but was afraid it would bother him. To show her that it wouldn't, Ruka kissed her on the lips, causing his wounds to heal. Mito, however, thought he kissed her solely to heal himself. Ruka, amused by the misunderstanding, decided to play along with her assumption, hiding his true feelings. When they returned, they found the whole room in a mess due to Ruka's earlier fight. Mito went to borrow a vacuum from storage while Ruka discovered that Komori had captured vampires who had exhausted their power and could no longer retain their vampire forms. Komori, now in his human form, urged Ruka to come home to search for clues about his destined partner. When Ruka showed no interest, Komori warned him that as their next leader, he had no other choice. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Ruka decided to return home. Before leaving with Komori, Ruka informed Mito about his decision. Although saddened by his departure, Mito understood the importance of his journey and wished him well. Soon after, Mito learned that everyone in the dormitory was heading home, leaving her alone in the vast building. She couldn't believe she would be alone again, and while eating by herself in the cafeteria, she sensed a mysterious presence approaching. As the presence drew nearer, Mito unexpectedly bumped into Rin, who, like her, had no family, friends, or place to call home. With them being the only ones left, Mito hoped to bond with him, but Rin insisted she keep her distance as he found himself gradually falling in love with her. Feeling helpless about Ren's request, Mito decided to take a bath, unaware that a vampire was lurking nearby, eyeing her blood to regain its powers. The thirsty vampire snake lunged at Mito, but Ren swiftly intercepted it in midair, transforming into an unexpectedly alive poop. Despite the bizarre transformation, Mito had already been bitten by the snake, prompting Ren to urgently suck the poison out of her wound. In the process, Ren accidentally fell on top of Mito, leading to the unexpected revelation that she was actually a girl. Startled, Ren quickly covered her with a towel and continued to extract the poison from her body. As Ren focused on saving Mito, she eventually succumbed to unconsciousness, leaving him to reflect on her undeniable beauty. Meanwhile, Ruka found himself back in his homeland, where people accused him of jeopardizing the country's future by not finding his destined partner, and instead falling in love with a boy. As the prospective next leader, Ruka boldly declared that he no longer cared about finding his destined partner. This declaration shook the expectations of his people, who had placed significant importance on the prophecy. Ruka's resolve to follow his heart rather than conform to tradition sparked controversy and uncertainty among the vampires. Then, an old lady appeared with a yellow crystal ball, intent on revealing Ruka's destined partner. She showed him a red-haired girl who bore a resemblance to Mito, but Ruka remained disinterested because she wasn't Mito herself. Frustrated by Ruka's defiance, the founder intervened, pressuring him to prioritize his destined partner over his current love interest. However, just as tension mounted, the crystal ball unexpectedly began to glow, indicating that Ruka's true destined partner would appear by the water's edge later that night. This revelation left Ruka torn between tradition and his feelings, uncertain of what awaited him at the water's edge. Meanwhile, Mito regained consciousness and pleaded with Rin to keep her secret safe, fearing that if Ruka discovered her true identity, he would cast her out of his life. Rin reassured her with a promise to protect her secret, but in exchange, he asked her to go out with him. Rin wanted to cheer her up, so he suggested they go shopping for some new clothes. He waited outside while she picked out a dress. When Mito emerged to show her outfit, Rin was mesmerized by her beauty. Everyone on the street began to stare at her, prompting Rin to scare them away with his intimidating expression. Curious, Rin asked why she usually dressed like a boy. Mito explained that living alone with a pretty face wasn't easy, as strange men often harassed her. This revelation made Rin emotional, and he promised to protect her. Just as he was about to confess his feelings, someone from the dormitory noticed them. Fearing her secret would be exposed, Mito panicked and ran away, eventually finding herself near a water fountain. Mito began to think about Ruka, and as if by prophecy, he appeared out of nowhere. Ruka couldn't believe his eyes and continued to stare at Mito, remembering the old lady's prophecy. Mito worried that he would recognize her, but to her relief, he did not. Intrigued, Ruka asked for a little chat but felt awkward, unsure of how to talk to a girl since he was an otaku vampire. Mito felt a mix of relief and delight, happy that Ruka saw her as a girl and didn't recognize her true identity. Wanting to extend their time together, Ruka asked if they could meet again. Mito, unsure how to respond, playfully asked him to buy her an ice cream. As Mito was eating her ice cream, Ruka reached out to clean her face. The intimate gesture unexpectedly stirred his hunger, and he found himself tempted to suck her blood. However, he managed to stop himself just in time, struggling to control his instincts in her presence. He then asked for her contact information, but Mito, panicked, ran away without giving him her details. Ruka chased after her, but before he could catch up, Rin pulled her into an alleyway. As Mito was thanking Rin for his help, he surprised her with a kiss. He then confessed his feelings, telling her that he wanted to be her lover. Meanwhile, far away in a dark mansion, Ren's father was observing the chaos in the vampire world. He was eagerly awaiting Ren's 17th birthday, when Ren's unique ability would awaken, a power that would be triggered by drinking Mito's blood, Ruka's destined partner. While Ren's father schemed and plotted, Ruka returned to his room, where he found Mito eagerly waiting for him. He considered telling her about their encounter at the fountain, but ultimately decided to keep it to himself. Late at night, Mito struggled with her emotions. She felt a mix of sadness and joy, sadness that Ruka hadn't discovered her secret, and happiness that he saw her as a woman. Conflicted and unsure of what the future held, Mito lay awake, pondering the events of the day. The next day, while receiving work instructions from Komori, Mito noticed that Ruka hadn't mentioned their encounter from the previous night. Distracted, Ruka saw a girl approaching the door and rushed to open it, hoping it was the red-haired girl from the prophecy, but it wasn't. He glanced back at Mito and felt a resemblance to the red-haired girl, stirring doubts within him. When Takara accidentally threw paint on Mito's dress, Ruka quickly offered his shirt for her to change into, creating an awkward situation as Mito had to change in front of everyone. Sensing her discomfort, Ren stepped in front of Mito to provide cover while she changed. This act of protection intensified the tension between Ruka and Ren, leading Takara to send them to the market to buy more paint, hoping to defuse the situation. In the market, Ruka saved Mito from being hit by a falling cardboard box, once again noticing the resemblance to the red-haired girl from the prophecy. This heightened his suspicions about Mito. Ren, sensing the growing tension, confronted Ruka and asked him to leave Mito alone, pointing out that Ruka had already met a girl last night. Ruka acknowledged meeting a girl and, to Ren's shock, revealed that she was his destined partner. This revelation stunned Ren, as he knew the girl Ruka spoke of was actually Mito. The realization created an intense and complicated dilemma, with Ren now fully aware of the intertwined fates and hidden identities at play. Ren listened intently as Ruka further revealed a painful memory from his past. He recounted a day when he was playing with his only childhood friend, a girl who got injured and started bleeding. Unable to control himself, Ruka began sucking her blood. This terrified the girl so much that she ran away and never came back. Haunted by that experience, Ruka vowed never to drink women's blood again. However, seeing his destined partner the previous night, he felt an overwhelming urge to break that vow and drink her blood. Fearing that Mito might be taken to the vampire world like his mother, Ren vowed to ensure that Ruka never discovered Mito's true identity as a woman. Determined to protect her at all costs, Ren resolved to keep her secrets safe. Later, after work, when Ruka and Mito were heading to rest, Ren decided to join them. As they settled down to sleep, Mito wondered how she ended up in this complicated situation. Ruka, breaking the silence, decided to confide in Mito. He told her that the girl he met last night was his destined partner, and asked Mito to always stay by his side, even if he ended up marrying his destined partner. Mito was stunned to realize that she was his destined partner, but she also felt an inexplicable hurt. After Ruka fell asleep, Ren took the opportunity to talk with Mito. He asked her to go on a date with him, promising to reveal the fate of women who became the destined partners of vampires. This piqued Mito's curiosity and concern, making her agree to the date to learn more about the dangers she might face. The next day, Mito went on a date with Ren, who took her to his parents' mansion. As they entered, Ren's mother came running to meet him, tears in her eyes, apologizing for abandoning him when he was just 7 years old. Shortly after, Ren's father arrived, informing them that they were celebrating Ren's 17th birthday tomorrow. He expressed a desire to spend time together, hinting that he had something important to discuss with Ren. Ren's mother, who knew Mito's true identity, took her to the dressing room and transformed her into a lovely young lady. As they worked, Mito, growing curious, asked Ren's mother how it felt to be a vampire's destined partner. Ren's mother described the experience as wonderful, explaining that it offered the chance to become a vampire and live for eternity with one's lover. However, she admitted that this also meant abandoning her only child, a decision she made without regrets. Meanwhile, Ren's father had a private conversation with Ren. He revealed that if Ren stole Mito from Ruka, he would be freed from his damper status and become the leader of the vampires. Furthermore, on his 17th birthday, if Ren uttered his deepest wish while drinking Mito's blood, it would come true. Initially, Ren was repulsed by the plan, but the prospect of making Mito his own swayed him. Later in the evening, when Ruka arrived with Komori for Ren's party, Ren's father smiled, hinting at a sinister plan in motion. The atmosphere was tense with underlying secrets and unspoken intentions. As Ruka and Komori were chatting at the party, Ren's parents appeared and made a shocking announcement: the engagement of Ren and Mito. The declaration sent a ripple of shock and confusion through the room. Ruka's eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at Mito, trying to comprehend the sudden turn of events. Mito, dressed beautifully, felt a whirlwind of emotions, unsure of how to react to the unexpected announcement. Ren stood by, torn between his loyalty to Mito and the manipulative influence of his parents. Before Mito could say anything, Ren starts sucking her blood, while thinking if Mito weren't a woman so he could make her his own. Shocked by the sudden turn of events, Mito ran outside, and Ruka quickly followed her. In a moment of intense emotion, she confessed to Ruka that she wasn't aware of the engagement. Ruka, believing her words, listened intently, trying to understand the confusion surrounding them. Feeling desperate to reveal her true identity as his destined partner, Mito made a bold decision. She opened her clothes, hoping that Ruka would finally recognize her. However, to her astonishment and disbelief, instead of revealing herself as a woman, Mito transformed into a real man. Stunned and speechless, Mito struggled to comprehend the sudden transformation. Ruka, without hesitation, acted on instinct and swiftly flew her away from the chaotic scene. This ends our second part. Please like and share the video. See you in the next one.